Welcome all you surfers. It's another surf report, and this one, very important. I'm going to give you the short version and the longer version because I think I'm going to go a little bit long. Basically, we're going to want to get in alignment with the stars, Jupiter going retrograde in Ophiuchus. So it's all about, and there's even more aspects, but getting in alignment with Ophiuchus. What the heck is Ophiuchus? It's a constellation. If you haven't heard about this before, there are now 13 constellations in the zodiac. Go see the Beginner's Guide. It explains true sidereal astrology. And right now, Jupiter is transitioning into retrograde in Ophiuchus, so we need to get in alignment with that. And that's the short version. Let's go into the long version, and we'll start with the DreamBot. Make sure you catch up with the DreamBot in the Beginner's Guide. But we have two main themes here, and they are strikingly similar. The first one is like absolutes, ideals, and judgment. So like right and wrong, positive, negative, bad, all these judgments and stuff. Pure, like the top word is nail. So it's like, you nailed it, man. I was like, it was perfect. So like there's this perfection or absolute in there. But there's also positive and negative, like I said earlier. Then the other meme is really, it's a combination of some others, other small ones, but all together they sounded a lot like the Dark Night of the Soul to me. And the Dark Night of the Soul is really important in this kind of concept, this notion or this meme, because there's in personal mythology, there's a book called Personal Mythology, and our souls kind of periodically go through these dark nights of the soul where kind of get lost. It's the old adage or the old story is kind of like the puberty, the little boy going through puberty, and he's in his village and tribe, and he's growing into manhood. But in order to get to manhood, he has to like go out in the jungle and survive by himself and face all these evil monsters or whatever, and then slay the dragon or slay the tiger, and then come back to the tribe, and now he's considered a man. And obviously we have the similar things for females, but that's the kind of the old notion of dark night of the soul. Your soul goes through this really troubling period, and it feels like maybe you're going to die. It feels like the world is against you, like the universe hates you, and or maybe you're paying some drastic karmic consequence. But all along, you have this sensation of enduring, and you endure, and lo and behold, you get through this crisis much stronger than you were before. And most of the time have a really better idea or very clear picture of what it is you're supposed to be doing on this planet. So your life purpose comes out of that. So anyway, why do I say this? Well, because there's things like Batman, and that's like save the savior thing, and that's not it. You got the feelings in here, the emotions, so, and you got the journey. So putting this all together, I mean, you can read this over at National Dream Center in more detail, but that's what I've got set out, and it's just amazing. I didn't know what the astrology was like when I did this, but it matches it perfectly. Like, I can't believe the similarities here. So what do we have here tonight? Okay, so let me back up. I'm doing this recording on Tuesday night. So tonight after midnight, right after midnight at 1 a.m., Venus is conjunct Neptune. So this is where kind of, dreamy expectations of your relationships, and you have an impractical perspective of love and money and possessions. And this is the very difficult conjunction leading up to these other things that are going to happen, these other alignments. Sun square Saturn, also deep in the morning. So 3:46 a.m. it goes exact. This is Sun square Saturn, and Sun is your your yang, your willpower, your vitality. And Saturn with a square there represents ideals. Remember we talked about ideals and judgments? They're all there, and absolutes. And so in here, your willpower gets tested. Your willpower sees hurdles, and maybe challenges come up and difficulties seeing past these hurdles. You start losing sight of the goals potentially. This is a very big thing, and a very much associated with the Dreambot run. Then in the middle of the day, the moon is going to oppose Jupiter, and Jupiter is going retrograde. So it's basically in station right now. And so it's right in smack dab in the middle of Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus being the first doctor of the world in folklore and mythology. But he's the snake healer, and he was taught by Chiron, the centaur, and he was taught how to bring people back from the dead, from Hades. And so he's the healer. He's the massive healer, but he uses the occult strategies in order to heal. And so going deep into the dark, this is deep dark, and Jupiter going backward, apparent to us, not really going backwards, but that's midday. And this could be kind of concerned like the next shoe to drop. So things were going well, but now, I've got to kind of watch and hedge my bets. And you might feel generous, but you're maybe too soft and too giving and too open. And you start getting used, for lack of a better word. Maybe taken for granted would be a better way to say that. So there's a lot of stuff here. And then that's not even all. You've got in the middle of the afternoon on Wednesday, Mercury hitting up sextile Pluto, and Pluto kind of being that destroyer, but also very deep subconscious. And guess where that dark night of the soul is? Ooh, through Pluto. And so with Mercury, it's your discussion and communication. And so you're going to be able to, communicate your deeper feelings and deeper subconscious material. And that's going to be really helpful for this dark night of the soul. So let's go to Thursday and see what we have here. We have more incredible, insights here. You have Mercury square Jupiter, again in Ophiuchus, again in retrograde. And so now we're kind of tested cognitively about past fortunes. You might see, because Jupiter going in retrograde, you might see some change in momentum of your fortune. Okay, doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just means the momentum is changing. Maybe you're stuck cognitively during this couple days because of Mercury being the communication and thinking planet. You might be stuck in a cognitive pattern from the past, i.e. Jupiter in retrograde. You might be wishing that you were in past experiences or past fortune because of those changes coming. And maybe because, thinking and communication, poor focus, poor judgment, and poor communication, particularly about your desires and even your regrets. I know this is a mouthful, but there's even more. Moon sextile Uranus is happening, kind of in the middle of the night, but it'll be interesting to see what your dreams are doing during that time period, because Uranus all about change. And this is that period where things are changing, at least at a very minimum, momentum is changing. Okay. So it doesn't mean get on your guard. It means, like I'll point out here on the next slide, it means that some of us will have to prepare for another dark night of the soul. And this is a period of this retrograde of Jupiter is roughly 4 months. So it's going to end around August 11th. And it's about introspection and soul growth. That's ultimately what the dark night of the soul is it's about soul growth, very deep soul growth, but your physical body isn't feeling it. It's feeling more of desperation, maybe even hopelessness, maybe despair, maybe depression. It might be deep suffering. And I have the antidote later. Don't go anywhere. This is the intervention thing for Ophiuchus. So we want to get in alignment with Ophiuchus because Jupiter, with all those aspects and the retrograde, is in Ophiuchus. So we want to creatively go inward, go introspect. We want to freely reflect and definitely go in there and learn about your deeper purpose in life. That's ultimately the highest achievement of a dark night of the soul, is to find your life purpose and go start it and go do it. But this is Ophiuchus. This is the negative side of Ophiuchus. Remember, every constellation has a kind of a beneficial side and a negative side. This would be the negative side, which is don't poison others with your tongue. That creates bad karma. Don't boast. Don't be boastful in general, but especially because of this karma change, okay? Ignore the need for change. Don't ignore the need for change. Don't ignore the need for change. If there's a change agent in the zodiac, Ophiuchus could be one of those very good change agents, okay? Now, I mentioned suffering because in Dark Night of the Soul, we tend to suffer. And so in preparation for this, I just put out a new episode of Intervention Radio. You can find this on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere, and just look up Intervention. And Nate Terrell, what a great interview. He's been a therapist for 40 years. He's got all that experience when we talk about the nature of suffering. So we kind of go back and forth about our experiences in Dark Night of the Soul. Okay. That was a little bit long, but not too much longer than normal. So, yeah, Ophiuchus is the antidote, and it's healing. It's healing to go deep within. It's healing to go change your routine. It's healing to look through these obstacles to continue to see the greater objective here and the bigger goals. So as these hurdles start to come, don't forget that, yeah, you need to address these hurdles, but you still need to be seeing that further out goal and those further out objectives and your life purpose. All right. So important. All right. If I missed anything, please comment below. Ask questions. Comments are very important, and I appreciate everybody's attention, and I appreciate you being here. We'll see you on Thursday. I enjoyed it. Enjoy your Ophiuchus couple of days. We'll see what the Dreambot is doing next time. Take care.